and welcome back to the wine challenge. As you can see, today I've decided to do it in the courtyard of our Slaughtered House tasting bar because the weather's absolutely gorgeous and the bar is actually open again, so you can all finally start coming back and having proper tastings with us here. That isn't to say that you shouldn't try and finish off the wine challenge though. We've got some really great wines coming up over the next few weeks. But today the wine is this one here. So this is the Paolo Leo Primitivo. So Primitivo might be a grape variety that you're familiar with. Obviously Primitivo is the Italian name for this grape variety. It's very popular in Italy. Italy creates a very delicious Primitivo, but it actually falls under another name in certain other countries. So predominantly in America, it's known as Zinfandel. So you may have heard of Zinfandel before. It's a black grape variety, so it makes obviously really nice red wines. But you'll find in places like California, they'll make a white wine with this black grape called white Zinfandel. And because of the black grape, it comes out like a nice pinkish colour. It's quite sweet as well. I'm sure some of you will have tried a white Zinfandel at some point before. By the by, today we're doing a Italian Primitivo. So without much more ado, I'm going to get it open and get the tasting underway. So as it's a red grape variety, doesn't need to be chilled, it's sort of medium bodied, so just room temperature is fine. Now as it's a medium bodied red, you don't necessarily have to have it open and to breathe for a massive amount of time beforehand. As you can see, as usual, I've forgotten to open mine in advance. But you might want to open it up, see if you can, smooth out any tannins or any harshness, let it breathe a little bit. Ready for the noise? That was a good one. Now a little tip that I've learned from George, bar manager George, is to always sniff the cork, just to make sure you can't smell anything, any faults in the wine. So sometimes it might smell a bit like damp cardboard or something like that, and that means that maybe some of the oxygen's got in and it's all gone a bit funny. It smells totally fine to me, totally normal. Okay, so let's start with S number 1, so C. Pour myself a little glass here. Okay, so I know I'm out in the sun, so obviously I'm going to get a lot more light going through it, but it's really quite see-through. I can see my hands like straight through when I look down, straight through into the bottom. It's quite transparent. It's a really lovely ruby colour, and it's definitely, if I do that, I could see then it had really good legs on it as well. Those sort of drips coming down the side. Yeah, it looks very appetising. So S number 2, we have sniff. So we're going to do our first preliminary little smell. Ooh, it's a little bit ambiguous actually. I'm not getting like a definitive smell jumping out at me, but it is, it does still smell. It jumps out the glass, but it doesn't jump out the glass with a specific flavour, if that makes sense. I think I'm getting like a little bit fruity and maybe a little bit spicy. I don't know. Let's jump to S number 3. So S number 3, we'll give it a good swirl. And S number 4, sniff again. I'm kind of getting like a rounder smell to it. It's not sharp. It's kind of like a slightly rounder, juicy. I'd say like, can't tell whether it's red or black kind of berries that I'm getting coming through. It's definitely more like a berry smell. Like slightly jammy, like juicy, jammy berries. And again, still like a little hint of spice in there. Like peppercorn or cloves or something. Like a deeper spice, not like a sneezy spice, if that makes sense. Okay. I'm really having a bit of difficulty placing that. I'd say kind of jammy. So when I think of jammy fruits, I think of maybe like blackberries or I'd say strawberries, but it doesn't feel sweet enough or light enough for strawberries. So I don't really know. Maybe blackberries, I'd say. Let's give it a try. Let's do S number 5. So S number 5, let's give it a sip. Cheers. Ooh. Quick coat to the tongue. There's good acidity to it, and I definitely got a little kick of some kind of spiciness in there. It was almost like slightly Christmassy. I suppose that kind of pairs with the cloves, doesn't it? Okay, let's try that again. Ooh, I took a bigger mouthful that time, so I definitely got more of the tannins coming through. That was close. That would have been a disaster. Yeah, so it's got a bit of tannins, but they're not super thick or heavy. They're not completely drying my mouth out, but I'm definitely getting some tannins through there. It's got the acidity. it's got definitely a bit of a spicy kick, but I'm still having a bit of difficulty placing exactly what fruit it is. It's like it smells like a little mixed berry jam going on. Yeah, kind of, it has the deepness that you get with sort of more black fruits, so things like, you know, blackberries. Also maybe like a little bit of cherry, but like more of a, I don't know if it would be a reddish or a blackish cherry. I don't really know. It's fruity. It's got a general kind of thick fruitiness to it. I think spice-wise, I think I was pretty much on the mark when I said I could smell kind of cloves. It's quite nice that. It's almost like a spiced berry jam would be my best way of describing it. Whether or not that's right, I don't know, but shall we take a look, see? So the tasting notes that I have for this say ruby red with violet reflections in appearance. So definitely ruby red. So I'm getting a lot of reflection from the sky, so it's a bit difficult for me to tell. I suppose there could be like a little hint of violet in there. I don't know, you might be able to see better than I can. The nose shows delicate fragrances of cherry and small red fruits. Okay, yeah, I think I got cherry in there. Small red fruits. I suppose I kind of got like red berry, but I wasn't 100% sure what red berry. There's definitely something red in there. The palate brings forward blackberry, mulberry and raspberry with fine freshness, silky tannins and round enveloping mouthfeel. I like that. I like it when they refer to mouthfeel in a wine because it does vary from wine to wine. Some wines, especially some white wines, they can be quite creamy and oily and they kind of coat the inside of your mouth. Other ones are very sort of fresh. You've got tannins in red ones which seem to just suck the moisture out your mouth a little bit. So having a bit of mouthfeel description in there is quite nice. So enveloping, I think that's fair to say. They did say blackberry, which I definitely thought I could get. Mulberry, I've never had a mulberry, don't actually know what it tastes like. And raspberry. Raspberry, yeah, I mean, I think because you've got the acidity in there, I can kind of see where you're going with raspberry. But I definitely felt like it was mixed berries, and you're definitely getting mixed berries on the description there, so I guess that weighs up. Fine freshness, silky tannins, yeah, definitely get the tannins, but they're not, you know, they're not super crazy, drying your mouth out. Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate, I'd say. Obviously a couple of things I don't think I got in there, but you might have been able to get, I don't know. So as I'm sat in the bar, I've displayed my cheese on a lovely little tray here, one of our slates, and we've gone for the caramelised onion and red wine cheese that we have. So I'm quite excited by this one. It is actually one of my favourite cheeses that they do. It's almost like a cheese that already has the chutney inside it, which is great. So let's give it a go. So I'm going to chop a chunk of that off. I'm going to use one of our charcoal crackers. And cheers, let's see how this goes. I actually quite like it with the charcoal cracker though, because it's not got like a super heavy flavour to it, but it's got a really nice crunch, soft cheese, a little bit of sweetness, the creaminess, and then you get that kind of like spiciness from the wine. It's a nice combination. So it can be difficult sometimes when you've got something which has a bit of sweetness to it and you have it with wine, because the sweetness in the food kind of takes away the sweetness and the fruitiness that you get in the wine, and then you get left with sort of the slightly bitter and acidity and the tannins and everything like that. But because this has a decent amount kind of like jammy fruitiness to it, and that one's not overly sweet, you've still got the creaminess and the saltiness that you get from the natural kind of cheese. It does balance out really quite well. If you're looking for other kind of food recommendations for this particular Primitivo, you can look at things along the lines of your classic pizzas, pasta dishes. I mean, if you're having a pizza night, especially, you know, if you've got a wood burner or something like that and you're out in the sun, this would be the perfect wine for it. You've also got your burgers and your grilled meats. You know, if you were setting up a barbecue, something with really lovely deep barbecued meats, this would again just work so nicely because it's not super heavy bodied, so it's quite nice to have out in the sun. It's got the fruitiness, it's got that little hint of spice, which again would work really nicely with the saltiness and that kind of charred burnt quality that you get on sort of barbecued and grilled meats. I just think it would make a really nice pairing, and actually I'm quite tempted to get myself a pizza or something tonight. To test that theory, I don't have a pizza slice with me, but I do have some of the sun-dried tomatoes from the bar, so I think maybe if I just plonk a sun-dried tomato on there, it's almost like a pizza. You know, you'll get that tang that you'll get from, you know, the sauce that you would get on a pizza, so let's give it a whirl. Yeah. That did exactly what I thought it was going to do. The spices within the wine really kind of complemented the, not zestiness, but like the tanginess, the slight acidity, but the fullness and the impact of flavour that you get from the sun-dried tomato. Lovely combination. I think this has to be actually one of my favourites that we've done so far. I've got a few that I've picked out, which I definitely think that I'll be buying again, but this is certainly one of them. Yeah, delicious. Let me know what you think anyway. Give it a try, comment on the video, let us know when you drop into the shop how you feel about it, you know, what things you enjoy and what things you're not enjoying. And of course, you know, more than anything, come in and visit us. You know, now the bar's open again, it'd be really great to see some of you come in and try some wines with me here as well. Next week, we're going to be going for a German Riesling, so something that Germany is quite well known for. We've got some brilliant Rieslings in the shop. And until then, have a lovely week. Hope to see you in here and enjoy the rest of your bottle. Cheers.